What is Pathfinder 2nd Edition? What's it all about? And can you actually find any paths? This is the Dominomicon, authored and hosted by me, Dominic. The Dominomicon is dedicated to all nerdy things, with my current obsession being the TTRPG Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This quick video chapter is for people who want a fast summary of what Pathfinder 2nd Edition actually is and why it's absolutely a TTRPG worth investing your time into. If you are a TTRPG player or a GM who has heard of Pathfinder 2nd Edition but doesn't know much beyond that, or if you're a player who has been informed of this system as your GM wants to try it, or if you're just someone who wants to get some basic information on this system, then this video is for you. So I'm going to assume that you, the viewer, has some basic knowledge of TTRPGs, D20 games, or more specifically Pathfinder 1st Edition or Dungeons & Dragons. You'll need to know terms like what a difficulty class is, DC, or what a saving throw is. And if you find this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Okay, enough preamble, let's get stuck in. I'm going to begin with a quick summary. I'm not going to be dwelling on these points as I do intend to go more in depth a little later on. Right, so Pathfinder 2nd Edition, or PF2E as I'll call it from here onwards, is pretty similar to Dungeons & Dragons, but has basically more of, well, everything. More spells, double the amount of classes, thousands of feats, more GMing tools, and plenty more I could rant on and on about. Where PF2E differs is in its emphasis on teamwork and tactics, more so than D&D anyway. To top all that off, the game is extremely well balanced, which makes GMing a breeze and makes your decisions feel like they mean more. More on that later. Due to this excellent balance, the game doesn't require system mastery to make a viable character, and it even allows you to pick more thematic, less optimal choices and still be good at what you do. And to finish off this summary, all the rules are available for free, legally, online by going to the Archives of Nethys website. You don't even need an account on the site to start looking up rules. It's super simple. With all that said, I have to put a disclaimer here. This isn't Dungeons & Dragons and needs to be approached like it's entirely a new game if you're coming from that system or from Pathfinder 1st Edition. Do not bring your system ideas and rules from these games and apply them to PF2E or you'll have a really bad time, GMs especially. And that's honestly about it for a quick summary. So if that's all the information you think you need, then you can close this video and get on with your lives. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go a little bit more in depth, though this still is a summary of PF2E, so if you're sticking around, I'll try to make this as simple and easy as possible. PF2E is, believe it or not, the 2nd edition of the TTRPG Pathfinder, created by the American company Paizo. Its aims were to streamline and modernize Pathfinder 1st Edition in a few ways, and I'm going to go over what I think are the top 3 most important. Starting with number 1. By simplifying the action economy. PF2E introduces the 3-action economy, where almost everything you do takes a single action, making your choices in combat feel more varied, tactical, and easier to understand. Number 2, by making character choices matter outside of character creation. So this is partly due to the 4 degrees of success that have been introduced in PF2E. Basically, every +1 matters, as exceeding a DC by 10 results in a critical hit, as does subseeding the DC by 10, I don't care if subseed is a real word, I'm using it, with something like a saving throw. So, because every single digit matters, this means that you need to give yourself every advantage in combat to get those extra numbers, so flanking, causing debuffs and buffing allies has drastic effects on combat. As part of this, Paizo also made skills much more useful in PF2E, such as being able to use the medicine skill in and out of combat to heal people for actual health points. And how would character choices matter if you couldn't customize your fantasy you? PF2E has thousands of feats, categorized into things like ancestry feats and class feats, and handed out at differing levels, so you never get overwhelmed with choices. Oh, and you can multi-class here, but it works by having you basically start stealing feats and abilities from another class, all without making your main class weaker. So you can grab some fighter feats as a wizard, for example, every few levels, and still get the most powerful spells in the game. Thus, character choices really matter in PF2E, and one of the common sayings around the PF2E community is, you cannot win at character creation, you win in combat by making the right choices. Okay, that was a rather long point. Now onto my final point on how the game has been modernized. Number 3, by balancing the game and making it pretty easy to GM. Despite the ludicrous amount of feats, spells, classes, ancestries, etc., with more coming of all that I've just mentioned, Paizo keeps a very close eye on game-breaking combinations of systems and patches them out via erratas. This makes the game significantly easier to GM due to you not having to worry about a player trivializing an entire fight with an overpowered ability or spell. On top of that, Paizo has included lots and lots of tools to help GMs, such as item building tools, encounter building tools, monster creation tools, prices and suggested levels and rarities for items. It really is a doddle GMing in PF2E. So, those 3 reasons are the biggest ways in which Paizo has modernized and streamlined PF2E, in my opinion anyway. They had very clear design goals for what they were trying to achieve, only a few of which I've mentioned. I do intend to go a little more in depth with another video chapter on some of their other design choices that they made, so keep an eye out for that. But because of reasons such as the ones I've mentioned, PF2E has indeed become a modern feeling, streamlined system with lots of complexity and choices for players, all while keeping the game easy to GM. And here's the kicker, and while I did mention it a little bit before, everything I've just spoken about is free. This stuff is all entirely free online. You can just go straight to the Archives of Nethys and start looking up rules, or go to Path Builder to start playing around with character builds. Though do note that you won't have much of a clue what's going on if you just jump straight into character creation, and the Wanderer's Guide, which is another character creation website, might be a better bet as it walks you through the process a little bit easier. All the websites I've mentioned, by the way, will have links in the description. But still, all this content being free is kind of insane. Obviously it does help if you have some of the rulebooks, and if you really are serious about playing or GMing, I highly recommend you buy some of the books, because I think it's a little bit easier to flick through a book than it is to browse when you're trying to learn, because you can go page by page. But you don't actually have to buy anything at all, and looking up spells, abilities, and even rules is super quick in PF2E thanks to all the online tools available. And if you do decide to start buying stuff, you're not going to be disappointed. Paizo are well known for creating well-written, well-executed adventure books, or adventure paths as they're called, some of which go from level 1 to level 20. Yes, high-level play is not only balanced in PF2E, but it's also not a slog to play, and it's pretty crazy fun. Aside from these adventure books, Paizo have a line of lore books called The Lost Omens, and the quality of the books is so high that I don't even know where to start. It kind of blows my mind how good these books are. Almost every page has beautiful art, and they're filled to the brim with interesting characters, crazy magical stuff, information on the world itself, and even down-to-earth details like the amazing travel guide, which tells you what life is like as an average Joe in Pathfinder's world, Golarion. Some of the books are hundreds of pages long, such as the book on Absalom, the capital city of the Inner Sea region, which is the area where most of PF2E is played. And that book happens to be 400 pages long. 400 pages on a single sea. I love it. I think that by now you're probably questioning how much Paizo is paying me, and I assure you, sadly, that they aren't even paying me a sausage. I made this channel because I feel as though PF2E just isn't as big as it deserves to be, and Paizo really deserves so much more credit for what they've accomplished with the system. They are a very pro-consumer company, as well as being very inclusive, and I genuinely feel as though PF2E is the best TTRPG out on the market right now, and it just continues to get better each and every year. It's not without its flaws, of course, but it still deserves a heck of a lot more attention than it gets. So that is a somewhat speedy summary of what PF2E actually is. So you might be asking, Dominic, what should I do if I'm interested in playing this system? Well, for one, like and subscribe because I'll be making more PF2E and eventually Starfinder 2E videos. As of the release of this video, Starfinder 2E is still being designed by Paizo. And both games will be 100% cross-compatible, by the way, so if you ever wanted a balanced fantasy sci-fi TTRPG in space with over 30 classes and a ludicrous amount of ancestries, magic abilities, laser weapons, laser guns, jetpacks, spaceships, dragons, stay tuned. But otherwise, the beginner box is a great way to get started. You can buy the box physically and play in person if you like, or you can buy it on Foundry, Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds if you play online. The beginner box does appear on Humble Bundle quite regularly if you want to try it that way. I highly recommend Foundry because despite me playing and GMing in person, I use Foundry as it's a one-off payment and all the PF2E content, aside from adventure books, is free. And it keeps getting updated, for free as well. And when this video is released, Paizo is still hard at work remastering PF2E due to Wizards of the Coast going utterly insane and creating the OGL fiasco. And to cut an extremely long story short, PF2E still used a license called the OGL from the owners of Dungeons & Dragons, which is Wizards of the Coast. And these owners were trying to revoke this license, and while this ultimately didn't happen, Paizo still decided to cut ties and re-release their main books for PF2E, and at the same time they went through them and fixed up some things, thus the remaster. You don't actually need any of these books though if you just want to play through the beginner's box, and I'd really actually suggest that over everything else if you just want to get started. It should last about 2 to 4 sessions probably. Oh, and there's plenty of paths in there to find. So yes, you can find some paths, and when you do, you win Pathfinder. I think that's how it works anyway. And when you're done with that, you'll want to purchase Player Core 1 and GM Core. Using these books and the free online resources I've mentioned, you should be good to play for some time. But that's it for this video chapter. I hope it's given you a summary of what PF2E is and why some people, such as myself, are absolutely obsessed with it. I really hope you'll consider liking and subscribing because I do intend to do a lot more Pathfinder 2nd edition content in the future. And if you have a question or two about PF2E that I didn't answer here, or you want to mention something else great about PF2E, pop it in the comments below and I'll try my best to reply. But for now, this is Dominic of the Dominomicon wishing you a fond farewell, and until next time, goodbye.